It's Marner Monday, the latest on Mitch Marner to Vegas, ahead on Locked On Golden Knights.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. The start of a new week. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. I'm a longtime sportscaster, a marketing consultant, and the host of the Believe in Vegas podcast. And Chris, the owner of Silver State Cards and Sports and collectibles editor for the Hockey News. We are brought to you today by FanDuel, where you can find odds on the NHL Cup Final and the NBA Finals. Ahead on today's show, yes, it is indeed Marner Monday. We've got some juicy little nuggets for you there. We've got Nic Hague on the trading block. Not a big surprise. And later on, we'll talk Oilers, Panthers, Stanley Cup Final, and we'll start to get into all the news for this week. Game number 1 coming up on Wednesday. So among the information we found out this weekend, we found a nugget about a trade that almost happened a year ago. Mitch Marner involved in a deal with VGK, and the main principal, I don't know what the other pieces were, Chris, but the principal was Shea Theodore. Theodore was injury-plagued a season ago. At the time the trade was proposed, and he tallied 42 points last year. Then this past season stepped it up with 57 points, and he also missed 15 games due in part to that broken wrist from the Four Nations. This would have been perhaps one-sided. I think VGK would have won that deal. Talk about fleecing. Elliot Friedman on 32 Thoughts said, VGK nixed the deal. VGK nixed the deal? And this is the same organization, threw that out there on a Monday, same organization that held back a trade for Jack Eichel because of Peyton Krebs.
I mean, Shea Theodore greater than symbol Peyton Krebs. I think we can start there. I wonder what the other pieces were, right? Shea Theodore, of course, would have been the main key components. But was it Shea Theodore, a couple throw-ins and call it good? Or was it a Shea Theodore? Was it 2 draft picks? Was it, I'd say like a grade A prospect, but that doesn't happen in Vegas. Like a couple of grade B, grade C's. Was like Korzak thrown into the mix as well. Not knowing the totality of that deal makes it tough to maybe get a full grasp on exactly what the situation was. In a vacuum, Shea Theodore for Mitch Marner, nothing else. Yeah, done deal. I don't think there's a team in the NHL that doesn't make that deal. Not knocking. Oh, there we go again. Someone said I gotta stop doing this, but Shea Theodore, listen, everyone's replaceable. Is Shea Theodore directly replaceable? I don't know if that's the case, but you look at what the net scoring output would be when you have a Mitch Marner on the team versus a Shea Theodore. Do you give up that much defensively when you have a Nic Hague who's going to get more time? More on Nic Hague in the second segment. You have Caden Korzak, you have Ben Hutton. Could they have filled in the gaps on the Shea Theodore side?
And they did when he was out and injured.
Yeah, no, and on this, I mean, Shea Theodore, healthy season, bad luck with. I mean, technically, didn't even get injured in NHL action. He got injured in an exhibition tournaments, caused him to miss 15 games. But this might have been his healthiest season in a long time, and 57 points. I mean, if he goes 82, he gets about probably 70 points, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, there's a lot of other teams that are. I would make that deal night and day, and even throwing in assets, I would have made that.
Yeah, Mitch, but Toronto's not trading Mitch Marner for Shea Theodore directly. There's no way.
No. I said he was the principal. He was the principal
right
in that trade, in that deal, and whatever other assets you had to give up, just give them up. Like.
Do you trade Nick Waugh and Korzak too? All three of those?
No,
I don't know.
Korzak as well. No, of course there would have been some assets there.
So wait, Peyton Krebs or Caden Korzak? Now Caden Korzak is holding up a trade.
Is he holding up the trade? Unbelievable. The Athletics, Chris Johnson reported Toronto had told Marner before the deadline, news that we had heard before, that the first choice was to sign Marner. Toronto told him that. But then they also said, hey, we have a trade in place for Mikko Rantanen. That was possible. And then Marner, of course, shot that down due to his no trade clause. But Carolina now wants to get back in to the Marner sweepstakes. There's a lot of players currently that want to get into the action here. But you have to believe, because VGK was first, I would think that they first team in there, aggressive, I would think they would have the inside track, but not according to FanDuel odds.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's so many moving parts trying to figure all this out, and it's pretty wacky. You got the odds in front of you. I don't have the
Okay,
odds.
I'll give you the odds. I'll give you the odds.
Yeah, I got them in
So
front
the
of me here.
odds
So
currently from FanDuel, and then you can comment in the Marner sweepstakes. So the Blackhawks, your Blackhawks, are plus 250 favorites. It's not steep. The fifth most cap space in the NHL. So they can empty the barrel there on Mitch Marner. The Canes, plus 340. He's already turned down a deal to go to the Canes. And why would he do that? Resigning with Toronto is plus 430, so 4-1. And then comes in VGK at plus 650, followed by Anaheim plus 850, the Kings plus 1100. And why would anyone bet on any of the Canadian teams when Marner already took them all off the table, for crying out loud? You get great value if you're just a numbskull. Montreal plus 5,000, Ottawa plus 6,000. But Marner already said, I'm not going to any team in Canada.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of questions about this, and I'm going to cross off teams that are 3 years or greater away from making any type of a run. So we're going to cross off the favorite, the Blackhawks.
Okay, is it established that he wants to win over making money?
I mean, he can do both, can't he? I mean, is he really going to take 14 from Chicago and turn down 12.5 from Vegas for 8 years? I know that's a lot of money over 8 years, but
7.
Then you got the taxes and all that stuff.
Yeah, he doesn't want that 8th year for some reason.
So, I mean, I would think in Carolina, he nixed it. So, I mean, I think by process of elimination, Vegas, LA, and Florida are the favorites right there. Another report from a David Pagnotta. We have first of all, Pierre LeBrun, Anaheim, Detroit, Chicago, LA among teams interested in Marner. Florida and Vegas are of interest to Marner. That was one of the first ones that came out on the 24th. And then in the last 24 hours, Pagnotta, Marner has a list of 7 or 8 teams he's looking at, including Vegas and Los Angeles. However, San Jose, Columbus, Anaheim are preparing big offers as well. San Jose, Anaheim, 2 of 3 teams, obviously, in the Pacific, as the Los Angeles Kings, who are being looked at for Marner. So a lot of moving parts here, and you do see that there was a trade that kind of fell apart about a year ago. Kind of the same thing happened with the Eichel situation, right? The Eichel trade talk was hot and heavy. Looks like it's going to happen. That got really quiet for, I don't know if it was 30 days, 60 days, whatever. And then all of a sudden, boom, here's a trade. It's done right before the season started. So, McCrimmon's kicking tires right now. And Mitch Marner has the control in this. Like, that's the thing. Mitch Marner has the control in this. If Toronto wants to do a sign and trade, that still requires Mitch Marner doing the signing parts. And I don't know if he's going to, depending on who comes to the table. I mean, if it's the Golden Knights or one of the teams on his list, then yeah, he might. I wouldn't think he's going to take a sign and trade to Nashville, just throwing something out there right there.
Did you see where Florida is ranked? I wrote down the numbers here on the FanDuel odds. I didn't mention Florida, so kind of missed them. Did you see? Did you used to watch when you were younger? Did you ever watch? What are they? Plus 1,500? Florida?
Yeah.
Okay, plus 1,500. Did you ever watch Hollywood Squares when you were a kid?
Jim J. Bullock.
Paul Lynde was the center square. And it's Paul Lynde, a.k.a. Kelly McCrimmon, for the block there on Hollywood Squares.
I think I was in the Whoopi Goldberg Center Square era.
A little bit later. You don't know who Paul Lynde is. Coming up next, we're going to talk about a trade, perhaps, that's on the books here, perhaps in the works. Nic Hague, shopping Nic Hague, next on Mitch Marner Monday on Locked On Golden Knights. The NBA Finals are here, and every night should deliver highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments, whether it's game-winning shots or breakout players. There's never been a better time to get into the action than now because FanDuel makes it so easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. And we have OKC as a minus 750 series favorite. Is it all over? There's player props, there's performance trends, same game parlays, much more for fans to get engaged, to get into the action. And of course, you can check out FanDuel each and every day, every moment for all the latest odds, including in the Marner sweepstakes. If you are new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first bet of $5. And if it wins, you'll receive $200 in bonus bets. So we have the NBA Finals going on. Of course, you could get the latest on the Stanley Cup, which we'll talk about later.
Stuart Skinner plus 4,900. Conn Smythe.
It's coming way down there, plus 11,000 when you told everyone, the world. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the National Basketball Association. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick reporting from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Of course, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure to subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. Of course, Saturday we heard from the Chris and Chris Jr. show. On Fridays, we've got WTF Day, but every day of late has been a WTF moment. VGK in the news currently entertaining offers for defenseman Nic Hague. Cap concerns are the issue, as we know, and you and I both said on should he stay or go. We felt like he was leaning towards going, right? A restricted free agent, and his offer sheet is projected to be more than his current salary is worth. Hague, I believe, is also, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't he arbitration eligible as well?
I believe so.
Yeah, so Dave Pagnotta of the Fourth Period, the first to report that news this week, and offered projected to be in the high $2 million. And you look at some of the stats here.
That's just on a bridge. If it's a long term, it's going to be probably over three,
right?
4 or 5 or something like that.
Unbelievable. Well, good for Hague and the Hager bomb and all that. There was a decrease in shots blocked this season from 111, which is ungodly, to 74. And then his hits were down from 153 a season ago to just 82. So is he starting to wear down?
Wear down, that's a big terminology. Is he having a typical up and down hockey career like players have? I mean, we're talking how old is Hague? 25?
26
years old.
Yeah.
Weird.
I think he's a Taurus. No, I don't know.
It's funny. No, I mean 26 years old, December 5th, whatever December 5th is. There you go, Tony. We got a while for that. Hague, he moves well for a big body, tall, just the type of guy you look at and you're like, man, this is who I got to play against for, 15 shifts tonight. But if there's one knock on him, I don't think he plays big. And with his body size, I would expect more Braden McNabb, and you really don't see that out of him. Now, he's a guy you don't want to fight. Tony can tell you he's an elite fighter.
He's an elite fighter.
He's a good fighter. And he definitely does his role as far as protecting the team and dropping the gloves when need be. If there is an expendable member of the defense, I mean, it's that third pairing. It's Whitecloud and Hague. You could split hairs on which player probably has longer value. So then if we're going to start splitting hairs, now you go to the contracts. Zach Whitecloud is under contract through the end of 27-28 at $2.75 million. That was a real nice team-friendly deal when Whitecloud got signed. It was a 5-year deal or something like that. Nic Hague is going to make in the upper twos this year, whether it's an RFA situation or whether it's arbitration, however that works out. If he signs a long-term deal, he's probably going somewhere in the $3.5 to $4 million range, if not a little bit higher, and term will be of question. So doesn't matter if it's Mitch Marner. It doesn't matter what the scenario is. The Golden Knights got to shed some cap to figure out what they're going to do if they like, Brandon Saad, if they want to keep Riley Smith around. The biggest issue right now this team faces is not Jack Eichel. It's not Mitch Marner. It's Dorofeev's contract next year. How much is he going to make for this team? And that's, at some point you got to shed assets. You got to shed. You got Korzak waiting in the wings, who looks like he's an everyday player, a little more of a mobile player, not as big and physical as Hague, but I think he has the mindset and the speed to maybe fit in better with Coach Cassidy's new shoot first system.
Yeah, that new philosophy, of course, for Bruce Cassidy. Dorofeev, I would play wait and see with him. They're not going to try to extend him, will they, over the summer?
No, they can't, because it would be the following year, the way it's kind of.
Oh, it's the following year. Okay. They're all set on that end of things anyway now, for at least for the moment. And when you look at Nicholas Hague, he's played more games than any other Golden Knight, 364 games. Pagnotta said in his report that here's a player that brings size, some size, obviously, accountability, and championship pedigree. Did you write that? And
no, but that's pretty good.
Now the future does lie with Ken Korzak and or Hutton, the forgotten guy. Oh my goodness, I'm a Hutton fan. You know that. Can either one of those make a jump to another level? That's what's going to happen here.
100%. I mean, Hutton, strange how he doesn't get more opportunities. You have to wonder how Cassidy views his game and where he fits in. Looking at the Nic Hague side here, the top four, now I know at times Hanifin and Pietrangelo have been split up, but generally speaking, the top four is established right now. Pietrangelo, Hanifin, McNabb, Theodore. Nic Hague looks like he's ready to make a jump to a top four pairing type with his size, with his age, with his championship pedigree, as mentioned. He definitely would probably fit in better with many other teams in the NHL, whether it's a team building up like Anaheim, San Jose, whether it's a team that's trying to figure it out like Toronto, who's in shambles right now, or is he the Nate Schmidt to the Florida Panthers next year? There's all sorts of teams that would be lining up to do something for Nic Hague. And now, how does this fit into the Golden Knights? What's the potential return? I mean, it could the sign and trade, okay, William Karlsson, Nic Hague for Mitch Marner.
No,
there's something to throw out there.
No, they'll trade them for future considerations.
No, it won't be future considerations.
Maybe for draft picks, assets. I think that they can.
This isn't Dylan Coghlan we're talking about here.
But there's the story with Hague was he was making his 3-year contract, which is expiring, $2.29 million, and now he's going to take a jump to maybe high twos, $3, even somewhere. I think they reported a $4 million perhaps deal. And so you sign Hague to an offer sheet, and of course it can be matched easily if it's in the two.
And then VGK flips, then he gets a second round, then VGK gets a second out of it.
Right.
So
and arbitration perhaps, could loom as well. And VGK, they've never lost. Did they lose the Schmidt one back in the day? I don't know.
If it's a loss. I think it just goes to arbitration, and here's the contract. I don't know if it's a loss necessarily.
Yeah, but they settled, remember?
No, I don't think Golden Knights, I don't think have ever gone to arbitration. Forgive me if I'm wrong on that.
No, they've gone to arbitration. Yes. Yes. We'll have to look that up. But
Schmidt went to arbitration.
I thought, Schmidt. And I think VGK took the L in that one.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. But this will be, pretty interesting for the Golden Knights. Again, we're going to see change. We're going to see movement with this lineup for the Golden Knights. It's inevitable now. And it's just a matter of who they keep and who they just let go. But Hague does have good value, correct? And they could get something good in return.
No, 100%. Nate Schmidt goes to arbitration, 2-year deal worth 4.45. So he got 2.2 and change.
I'm glad I'm right, because it's Monday. I'm typically wrong on Monday.
There you go. I mean, no, Nic Hague will have a good return. He'll help the Golden Knights from their salary situation. At the least, it's a second round pick if it goes to that situation as far as arbitrate or offer sheet match goes.
Coming up next, Connor McDavid left the ice yesterday after he spoke to the trainers. Is everything okay with the superstar heading into Wednesday's Cup opener? We'll talk about that as we return on this edition of Lockdown Golden Knights. Welcome back from Las Vegas. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick reporting. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Don't forget, coming up on Wednesday, we've got a big show, a couple of shows, right? Is that how we're going to map it out?
Yeah, we're going to have two shows. We're going to have an early, our regular early show on Wednesday, and then we'll have our AFP show after that.
Right. Kyle Stitch will be our special guest from AFP Analytics. Really looking forward to that. I think that's going to be very informative for the fans, for us, to see what the projections are on a lot of these contracts for VGK, and probably have a lot more insight. So that's coming up on Wednesday, a special edition, which should be released around 12 o'clock noon is what we were guessing, Pacific time. Plus, we'll have our regular show in the morning. So if you have any comments, obviously leave them up on our X. From Edmonton practice on Sunday, Connor McDavid was on the ice. Then he talked to the trainers and then left. But Chris Knobloch said that he should be ready for Wednesday's game 1 of the Cup final. Another, speaking of X, my X Factor is back. Connor Brown was on the ice skating with the fifth line. Is this Pete DeBoer-esque? What's fifth line?
There's always Indian players skating together.
I know. But in any event, we shouldn't worry about McDavid. A little interesting.
I mean, it's interesting, and of course they're going to downplay it. And this goes back to why injuries are kept very quiet, because McDavid doesn't want Matty Tkachuk going up and giving him a little love tap to his fractured ankle or something like that.
Slashed in the foot.
What exactly is going on with McDavid? Who knows? But honestly, everyone's got something at this stage of the year. Everyone's got something at this stage of the year. The Panthers and the Oilers have now played the more games than any other teams, of course, in the playoff, or they will within a couple of games. So, yeah, this is the war of words, so to speak. You got media day coming up, probably likely tomorrow, if I had to guess. And it's always I remember media day in Vegas. That was awesome working that, just getting sound bites from other players and stuff, having some fun moments and all of that. And yeah, it'll be up in Canada. It's up in Edmonton. They got the Oilers got home ice, so that'll be fun for the NHL. And there's going to be a Stanley Cup in Rogers Place, I guess, right?
Yeah, it might not stay there, but it'll definitely be there. The second attempt for the superstar McDavid to win the Cup. Did you see that graphic out the other day? Wayne Gretzky, he lost his first appearance for the Cup to the Islanders, and then the next season he beat the Islanders. And then Sidney Crosby, his first Cup appearance, he loses to Detroit. He comes back the next year and beats Detroit. You see a trend developing here. So perhaps we'll see McDavid break through. And at last check, Edmonton was a slight favorite, right? I thought I saw minus 125 somewhere.
No, you're on the ball. According to FanDuel, you got minus 122 plus 102. And I mean, I thought Edmonton would be a slight betting favorite. Now, I don't know if that necessarily means Edmonton's the better team. Obviously, we got up to 7 games to get that decided. But Edmonton is a much more publicly bet team, starting with all the money flowing from Canada, from all the national money and all that. And yeah, there's a lot of people that want to fade Edmonton just because they don't like them. But that's, it's almost like if the Dallas Cowboys, when they get big, national games, I won't say big playoff games because that doesn't happen too often anymore. But Dallas Cowboys get bet down way more than they ever should because of their public interest and everything. One thing we were thinking about, I talked about this on the Chris and Chris show on Saturday. Growing up being a Michael Jordan, Chicago Bulls fan and everything, Michael Jordan was always knocking on the door. Couldn't get past the Pistons for the longest time. Well, enter Phil Jackson, and boom, we know what happened after that. I almost wonder, again, I'm not saying Chris Knobloch is the modern-day Phil Jackson or anything, but
is set the record already, for a young coach and the number of wins in 2 seasons.
Well, yeah, and I was going to say, is Knobloch what Phil Jackson was to Michael Jordan?
How do the Rangers ever let this guy go? How'd they let him go? How do my Rangers let him go?
Yeah, I mean, well, he was buried with Hartford, right? It's like he was in,
Yeah, he was with
he was in the A.
Hartford.
Yeah, so I mean, that's the thing. I mean, the Rangers have made some odd coaching decisions with Tortorella, Laviolette,
You
and et
think?
cetera, et cetera. So yeah, you wonder if that's the X factor right now in Edmonton. I mean, you got Connor Brown. I say Knobloch is my X factor of that series.
They should mandate that these teams play at least six games. The FanDuel number I saw over under for number of games was 5.5, 5 and a hook. So they have to get into the sixth game. It's what we want to see. I want to see them beat the snot out of each other,
Yeah,
and perhaps a repeat of last year. Although the Panthers, it wasn't good because they went up. Weren't they up 3-0 in that series? And then, of course, Edmonton came back, and then in Game 7, we saw the Panthers pull it out. Goaltending will be the key. Bobrovsky now 12-5 in the playoffs, 2.11 goals against average, and a 9.19 save percentage. And Skinner last year in the 3 victories against Florida was outstanding. 1.67 goals against, a 942 save percentage. So which Skinner, game number 1, do you just toss away and say Skinner's going to suck again and give up a lot of goals? Or has he really settled down and gotten into that groove?
Game 1's going to be tough for Edmonton. They're home. Every spotlight in the world will be on that game. You have the media day in Edmonton and everything. It is going to be a very, very tough game for all the pressure that they have on them to win that game. I'm not saying they're not going to rise and win that game. I'm curious what happens with the line as that game gets closer. Right now, Edmonton is minus 132, which is actually somewhat sizable, plus 110 for Florida. If I'm going to be forced to make a bet right now at 6:18 in the morning on June the 2nd, I'll take the plus 110 on Florida and see if I mean, is this where we do it, Tony? Do we go for the double dipper here? Do we go Florida game 1 and then Edmonton series? I don't know. I'm not ready to say that yet.
You're not ready. Well, you might be by tomorrow. Definitely.
That might be the angle, honestly. You get 2 pluses, and Edmonton will go from a minus 120 series favorite to probably a plus 160 dog if they lose game 1, and boom, you got action on 2 pluses. You're free rolling. I don't know.
A dynasty in the making, the 3rd consecutive Cup final for the Florida Panthers this season. Florida beat Tampa, Toronto, where they lost the first 2 games of that series. Turning point, obviously, was Game 3, and they beat the Canes, while Edmonton defeats the Kings, VGK, and Dallas. Who's had the more difficult path to the Stanley Cup final?
I feel like the Oilers. I mean, what? The Kings series, they won 4 straights. Golden Knights, that series, I don't think was as close as a lot of people wish it would have been. The Stars series was very one-sided, it felt.
After game 1.
Yeah, no, it was very one-sided after
They can't
that.
afford in a cup final to have a throwaway game. I know, all due respect, Bruce Cassidy, game 1 does count. Game 1 definitely
Game 1 does count, no doubt about that. Look at the Panthers side, right? They went 7 against Toronto. I mean, I think Florida's had a little bit tougher, but I don't know if that's going to matter.
And they're both like 3rd place teams, right? This past season.
I believe so,
we knew they'd be there in the end, again, because everyone got healthy, especially
I know Florida was going to be there in the end, but I definitely thought Edmonton had a chance.
Yeah, for sure. So this is going to be real interesting. And Connor McDavid said that experience from last year definitely will help out his team.
And the 4 Nations is going to help McDavid too.
You think that'll come into play? Yeah.
He got a big goal, Tony. He got the biggest. I mean, I'm not going to call it the biggest goal, an exhibition goal, but he got a tremendously big goal in a big moment. And I think that's going to help ease the nerves a little bit too.
Now, you say Jamie Benn is a fast skater too with a broken ankle. They're chasing down McDavid.
Roope Hintz, right? It was Hintz, right?
Oh, Hintz, rather. Sorry.
That was garbage. Give me a break. Like, McDavid has the puck. McDavid is making moves.
Phenomenal.
And that stupid tweet didn't show the entire thing. McDavid had to twirl and change directions and get his momentum. Hintz was going in a straight line. Like that tweet, that was the definition of rose-colored glasses. That was ridiculous.
We appreciate everyone tuning in. Of course, please subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. Coming up tomorrow, we'll have the latest. Maybe there's Marner news, although it won't be Marner Monday. We'll have to come up with something else.
Marner off season.
Yeah,
Marner
the
June.
entire the month of Marner. Again, we appreciate you tuning in, especially our everydayers. For my man Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco. See you tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights, and please take care.